Hammer time!
Before we move on, I would like to briefly talk about functions. In the last program, we actually used many functions. Can you guess which line has the functions? Recall that the setup and loop statements contain code within the curly brackets that they execute. These loop and setup statements, remember, setup runs once, loop runs continually over and over again, are considered functions. Also, delay, digital write, and pin mode are also functions too. So wait, what even is a function? Though we will visit this topic in more detail later in the week, it's important for you to at least understand the concept of a function before moving forward. Surely you've used a function in math class, something like y equals 3 plus x, or f of x equals 3 plus x, or delay 1000, semicolon? Alright, maybe not. But a function like y equals 3 plus x takes an argument, x, and calculates an output for the given value of x. For example, an argument of 3 produces the output of 6, or f of x equals 6. Sometimes we refer to the output 6 as a return value. So, the idea with functions is that you put something in and you get something new out, the return value. We use functions all the time in programming, and they could do a lot more than just manipulate numbers, such as the functions you learn in math class, like this y equals 3 plus x. Take the delay function, for example. This line of code calls the function delay and sends in an argument of 1000. We draw a parallel between the f of x example from math class and the delay function from Arduino, because the function call of delay and the argument that we give it in milliseconds is kind of similar to the f of x that we use in math class and the argument, the input argument that we have as the variable x. Delay is one of many pre-made functions for Arduino that make it easy for coders like us to write programs for the Arduino. A pre-made function is a function that has already been written by the makers of Arduino that the Arduino compiler is going to recognize when you call the function, and thus when the computer compiles your program, it will successfully translate the function call into instructions that the Arduino will understand. This is nice because it means a lot of the behind-the-scenes work is done for us, so we can get working on programs quickly. The use of the delay function is, as you could probably guess, to delay the program for a specified amount of time. Its argument is the time to delay in milliseconds, which you can see here and here. And so if I pass it an argument of 1000, it's going to delay for 1 second. And you can see here commented, they're saying wait for 1 second. So they've told us that that's what that line of code does. Try changing the value of the delay function's argument to get the light to blink faster or slower. So try changing these values around and see what happens. By now you also must be able to guess that digital write is the Arduino function turning the LED on and off. It takes two arguments, the pin number that you would like to turn on or off, and whether the pin is on or off. Remember that Arduino has digital output pins, which you can see on the top of the board labeled 0 through 13. You can think of these as little wall outlets that can be turned on and off. They run on what we call 5-volt logic, which means that the pin can either supply 5 volts of electric potential to a circuit or 0 volts. Try editing this function too, such as set both calls to digital write to low and observe what happens. What if you set both to high? Pause the video while you experiment with the program. Alright, just a final word about Arduino functions. You may forget how to write a function, or what arguments it takes, or what it outputs or does. So the best way to get information about Arduino functions is to go to the Arduino reference website. You can Google Arduino reference. Doesn't have to be spelled properly. And go to the website. The reference page is broken up into 3 columns, and you will see the rightmost column is the list of recognized pre-made Arduino functions. Click on one to read more about how to use it, and you can even copy the example code into your own program to get started. Also, note that pin mode is, as you probably assumed, another Arduino function that's specified if the pin you're using is an input or an output pin, which we'll talk about in more detail later. For the description of the function, the first thing in each reference is the description, so that gives you an idea before you even start using the function what it does. Again, for now it's just important that you know that functions take inputs and return outputs or other actions. And there are predefined Arduino functions that make programming our breadboard much easier. We will go more in depth with functions after learning some more basic programming syntax. Your first lesson to the C++ language with Arduino is up next.